Hey guys, today we are moving on to lesson 3 of module 23. I'm breaking this apart into 2 days. So today we are focusing just on the volume of spheres. So our goal for today is that you're going to relate the formula for finding the volume of a cylinder to that of a sphere. Okay, so before we get started, just like yesterday's lesson, I'd like you to kind of think about what relationship does the sphere have compared to the cylinder. Right, and we are going to watch a short video to try to help you figure that out.
In this video, we'll demonstrate the ratio of volume of a cylinder and a volume of a sphere. We have a cylinder and a sphere with the same height and diameter. Fill the cylinder with water. And push the ball into the cylinder. The volume of the water left in the cylinder is a third of the original volume. That means the volume of the sphere is 2/3 of the volume of the cylinder.
Okay, so just like she said, the sphere is 2/3 the size of the cylinder. So the formula for a sphere looks a little bit different. So I'm going to kind of break it down for you, but these are some good questions to be thinking about. Why is there a 4/3? Why is r cubed? I did attach a separate YouTube video onto our Google Classroom. So if you're still confused as to how they came up with the formula, please be sure to check out that other video. So our volume of a cylinder was pi r squared times height. And remember, that was the area of the base times the height, and the area of a circle was pi r squared. Well, we know that a sphere is 2/3 the size of a cylinder. So now I have 2/3 pi r squared times the height. But the height of a cylinder is twice the radius of the sphere. So I'm going to rename that height in the formula to 2r, or twice the radius. And then if I simplify this, 2/3 pi r squared times 2r, I get to the final answer of 4/3 pi r cubed. So this will be the formula that we'll be using to solve for volume. Again, if you are confused how they came up with this formula, please be sure to check out that other video. So moving on, our first 2 problems. So over here, I have to find the volume of this sphere, sphere A. And remember, we're going to round our answers to the nearest tenth when necessary. So I have 4/3 pi r cubed. And we have a radius already labeled for us of 1.3 inches. So my first step would be to write everything out. So I have 4/3. I exchange 3.14 for pi. And then for my radius, I have 1.3 times 1.3 times 1.3. Now, when I'm solving this, I'm going to multiply these 3 numbers together first. And now I get to the answer 4/3 times 3.14 times 2.197. I'm going to bring up my calculator really quick to show you how I suggest solving these. Not all calculators have fraction buttons, so I would recommend dividing 4 divided by 3 first, then multiplying that times 3.14, and then multiplying that by 2.197 to get to a final answer of 9.19810, and then we have a repeated 6. Now remember, our answers had to round to the nearest tenth when necessary. That's how I got to my final answer of 9.2 cubic inches. So again, just make sure that when you're solving this in your calculator, you are taking 4 divided by 3, then multiplying your next 2 numbers. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, let me get through that really quick. All right, so now over here, if I'm looking at square circle B, sphere B, I have a diameter that is labeled 8.4 centimeters, but remember I need to get to my radius, so I have to take this and divide it by 2. So 8.14 divided by 2 would get me to 4.2. So now how I would set this up would be 4/3 times 3.14 for pi, and then I have 4.2 times 4.2 times 4.2. Now I have 4/3 times 3.14 times 74 and 88 thousandths. And I multiply those three numbers together and I get to 310.18176. And again, I'm rounding to the nearest tenth. So my final answer would be 310 cubic centimeters. All right, here's a word problem. It says Jen has a silver charm on her bracelet in the shape of a soccer ball with a radius of 1 centimeter. What is the volume of this charm? So remember that formula for volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. So then my work would be 4/3 times 3.14 for pi. And then since my radius was 1, I'm taking 1 times 1 times 1. I'm going to simplify that to 4/3 times 3.14 times 1. I get to an answer of 4.186 repeated. And I am going to just automatically assume I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. So I would have 4.2 cubic centimeters would be the volume of that soccer ball charm. All right, so in conclusion today, we found the volume of a sphere using the formula 4/3 pi r cubed. Just make sure that when you are solving this on your calculator, you're inputting that 4/3 first. And also make sure when you're solving these problems that you're using the radius and not the diameter. Please be sure to look on your Google Classroom for your work for today.